Let's be honest, when you think of Iran, things like sanctions, complex politics, and maybe ancient history probably come to mind. But what if I told you there's another story unfolding there? A story about cutting edge technology that's probably going to challenge everything you think you know.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. Look at this number, 13th. What is that? Well, according to a recent index from the journal Nature, that is Iran's global rank in AI development. Yeah, 13th in the world. They're outperforming countries like Brazil, like Russia. It's kind of mind-blowing, right?
And look, this isn't just happening by chance. This push is coming from the absolute highest level. Just listen to this quote from Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. Iran must become part of the top 10 countries in the world in AI. I mean, that's not just a friendly suggestion. That's a direct order. This is a massive national priority. So that really brings us to the core question of this whole explainer, doesn't it? How on earth did a nation buried under some of the most intense sanctions imaginable manage to become an AI powerhouse? Well, the answer? It's not simple. It's really a story of two completely different Irans. Okay, so let's dig into the first story, the official one. This is the narrative Iran's government promotes to the world. It's a nationalist tech dream, where technology is the ultimate symbol of national resilience. The fancy academic term for this is techno-nationalism. But what it really means is using technology to flex your muscles on the world stage, to advance your own national and political interests. For Iran, this is all about creating a self-sufficient digital fortress, what they call a resistance economy, to prove to the world that they can go it alone.
And you hear this exact sentiment coming straight from the people on the ground. For example, the head of the Pardis Technology Park, which is kind of billed as Iran's version of Silicon Valley, he put it perfectly. He said, "We have become the producers of those technologies that, since sanctions, they do not give any more to us." You see? It's a powerful narrative about defiance and self-reliance. But, and this is a big but, here's where that official story starts to look a little shaky. A perfect example is the Simorgh Supercomputer. It's this huge point of national pride. The official line, wholly designed and built by a team of Iranian engineers. Sounds great. The actual reality? It's running on smuggled American-made chips. And that right there is the central contradiction. Even their biggest symbols of independence are secretly depending on the very systems they claim to be resisting.
So that's the official narrative. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Well, that's a whole other story. A story of incredible innovation that was born not just from ambition, but from total isolation.
Yeah, we've heard the big, bold dream. But what's the actual reality behind all that rhetoric?
So here's the thing. Because of sanctions, you can't just download Uber or order from Amazon in Iran. All those global services are blocked. But, you know what they say? Necessity is the mother of invention, and boy, did they invent. They built an entire homegrown ecosystem from scratch. You don't have Uber or Lyft? No problem. You've got Snap or Top 30. No Amazon? You've got Digicala. It's like a parallel digital universe. And don't think for a second that these are just some small-scale copies. I mean, just look at the sheer scale of these platforms. Cafe Bazaar, which is basically their Google Play Store, has 40 million users. Digicala gets over 5.5 million visitors a day. And Snap? It has 3.7 million drivers. These apps aren't just alternatives, they are deeply integrated into everyday Iranian life. But there's another side to this coin. This incredible innovation, it comes with a very real human cost. And to really get that, we need to talk about the reality of digital labor. Let's use that ride-sharing app, Snap, as our focus. So 3.7 million. Let that number sink in for a second. That's how many people drive for Snap. Now, to give you some context, that is about the same number of Uber drivers in the entire United States, a country that has 4 times Iran's population. It's just an absolutely massive number. So the government has this big idea they push. They call it innovation culture. And it sounds a lot like the classic Silicon Valley pitch, right? The belief that if you just develop enough tech, all the social problems will magically solve themselves. It's basically outsourcing huge public issues like unemployment to private startups. And here's exactly how they frame it. You have an Iranian parliament member, Jafar Qadri, saying this. With the presence of Snap, someone can no longer say that they are unemployed. You see that? They're literally presenting the gig economy as the silver bullet for unemployment. But what's the view from the driver's seat? It's a completely different story. One anonymous driver said, "If anything happens to my car, I don't know what I'll do. It's a lifeline."
So what looks like a solution from the top feels incredibly fragile and precarious from the bottom. And this is where it gets even darker. The state is leveraging its vast network of traffic cameras, many of which use AI, for more than just catching speeders. They're using this tech for social control. Specifically, they're using it to spot and punish drivers if their female passengers aren't wearing a hijab.
So what does this do? It basically turns these drivers into unwilling arms of the state. They're forced to police their own passengers. Just listen to this driver. I am against the compulsory hijab, but they have become so strict recently I can't afford to take risks. It's not a political decision. For him, it's about survival. His car, his lifeline, has now become this place where he has to enforce state ideology, whether he agrees with it or not. So, when you pull all these threads together, what do you have? You have a tale of two AIs. One is a symbol of national pride and defiance, and the other is a tool for a precarious global economy and state control. Academics have a term for this: hybrid neoliberalism. And it's just as strange as it sounds. It's this weird cocktail of two opposing ideas. On one hand, you've got hardcore state capitalism, all about being self-sufficient. But on the other hand, you've got these market reforms aimed at bringing in foreign money. So they're trying to be completely independent and globally connected at the exact same time. So let's just lay out the paradoxes, because they're everywhere. You have Snap, this poster child for Iranian innovation, right? Well, it was founded by German VCs and funded by a South African company. You have the state talking a big game about a resistance economy while pushing a gig economy that looks exactly like the one you'd find anywhere else in the world. And you have AI being used as a tool for national sovereignty with those supercomputers, and at the same time as a tool for state surveillance with those traffic cameras. It is a system just swimming in contradictions. And all of this leaves us with a really big, thought-provoking question. When a country's technological progress is built on such a foundation of paradox, when it has to rely on the global system in order to declare its independence from it, what does sovereignty even mean anymore?